5 in the morning. I'm tired but excited. Today is a good whiskey day. I've got an invitation here, which is an invitation to go over and see Islay's 9th distillery, which will officially open its doors tomorrow. But the reason I'm excited is about this specific distillery. If I was to imagine a scenario where I could design my own distillery, if I could conceive a distillery from scratch, what would I design? What would I do? What would I build? Well, obviously it would be a Scotch whisky distillery in Scotland, and if I'm going to put it in Scotland, it's going to be on Islay. And if it's going to be in Islay, then I'm probably going to want to make kind of classic Islay peated style of whisky. So this distillery, brand new, from a company that's been in whisky for many, many years, there's a chance that this could be that dream distillery. And you know, while I'm dreaming, would I not want it to be something with a visitor experience created at its centre? You know, it's all about the sharing of what they're making there, especially if they're making a whisky that's going to be designed for malt, not for contracts, but a malt distillery. So put the visitor experience front and centre, make a play on its location there on Islay, and then think about the whisky that you want to produce. You're going to want to do something as natural as possible, but not an extreme Islay style or a quiet Islay style, but just a classic Islay style, you know, 35 ppm, something of that order. You're going to want to let it be fruity. So you want slow fermentation, and wouldn't it be nice if it was in wooden washbacks? And then if you distill it, you want to kind of distill it slowly and you know, accentuate the top notes, the lighter notes, and maybe get some floral elements in it and get some complexity. And if you're going to do that, then condense it slowly through a worm tub, something that could bring out the texture in the whisky as well. This is just me, and this is me dreaming. And if I was going to go to all of that trouble, wouldn't it be nice to take away the automation? Wouldn't it be nice to have a human element in there? Human hands could actively, potentially affect the whisky production. That would be nice. That would be nice. Anyway, let's go and have a look at Ardnahoe on Islay. So we've arrived on Islay, nice and safe. It's a lovely day, it's a little bit breezy. Everyone behind us is just getting queued up, ready to go on a boat, and the idea is that we go out onto the sea and have a look at Ardnahoe for the first time, so it's going to be interesting. So we've not actually been to the distillery yet, we're headed out to the Sound of Jura, and we're going to have a spot out here to look at the distillery from the sea. And we've been promised a little dram to do that with, so kind of cool. From the boat you're struck by the location of the Islay distilleries, for the most part situated where they are on a once secret illicit distilling site, away from prying official eyes, or perhaps in more recent times for access by boat. But Ardnahoe is of its time, and consequently it can be seen perched prominently gazing across the Sound of Jura, its symmetry almost mimicking the Paps of Jura opposite. But there's another reason for that location. The deep, clear, spring-fed water of Ardnahoe Loch, because even on a wet and rainy west coast island, the distilleries need a clean, plentiful supply of good quality water. So we've come up to the water source, which is Ardnahoe Loch, which is just up behind the distillery. And I'm hoping that the wind is quiet enough for me just to use the mic on the camera here, but this is a really, really cool spot. On a day like today, it's really nice and tranquil. And we're having a dram next to the loch just now. But it'd be nice to actually stick the glass in the water and taste the water, right? There you go. Pure Islay water.
Tastes as good as any tap water I've ever had.
Another vital ingredient for Scotch whisky distilleries is their folklore, and Ardnahoe doesn't fall short. The site of the most recent known illicit still on the island, Visitor Centre manager Paul relays stories of local illegal distilling with hidden and buried worm condensers, while tour guide and Ardnahoe local girl Jenny shares tales of a white kelpie which rises from the misty waters, seduces its victims into riding on its back down into the genuinely unknown depths of the loch. After a while we realise that the morning's gone and we've yet to see inside the distillery. Why all this preamble, why all the scene setting, why can't we just see where they're making the whisky? Well, it turned out that they'd been saving the best till last. As you walk inside the distillery, the advantages of building from scratch are clear. A modern, welcoming visitor centre with bright and open shop area and Hunter Laing whiskies and spirits available alongside a great range of branded merchandise. It leads through to an area with an excellent restaurant, cafe and well-stocked tasting bar. I had the pleasure of lunch and dinner here. The food was excellent. The space invites the outside in and encourages you to spend time there. Especially when you can watch the dynamic weather happening across the Sound of Jura. As you begin the tour, you start to realise the configuration of the entire building is laid out with visitors in mind. With everyone a potential future ambassador, you get the feeling that they'll be very much a part of the life and daily vibrance of the place. Each door connects one building block of the whisky production process to the next. Everything is open, well planned and on a single level.
It looks like we've got a choice of doors in the corner.
But of course the jewel in the distillery's crown is its stunning still house. Barely a cable, switch panel or pipe can be seen. Just stunning views from a really fantastic space on Islay, under the longest line arms in Scotland. When we visited, it was mid-process, hot and noisy, and yet this is the room no one wanted to leave. Eventually, we were forcibly encouraged to move along. It ends in a tasting area where up to 12 visitors at a time will be invited to explore the sensory delights they envisage creating in their final whisky.
What was the wood from, sorry?
Warehouses. Warehouses.
Crunchy.
Came across it randomly in a workshop on the floor.
And so, from the only nod to history, a rare Vickers bobby mill said to have once been employed at Fettercairn, through the pursuit of clear wort, to slow fermentation and coopered Oregon pine washbacks, maximum copper contact through distillation and condensation and traditional outdoor worm tubs. The Laing family have set out their stall in the style of whisky they want to make, and it's encouraging, exciting even. I had the chance to ask the Laing family what motivated them to move from a successful bottling business into distillation.
I think the boom in sales of single malt Scotch whisky, there was a loch before of surplus single malts.
Yes.
That loch is barely a puddle now. And whilst we have arrangements, contracts, it was an inevitable step for us to think of our own distillery to protect us for the future. And also for the sake of owning our own distillery. I believe we've been recognised as a good supplier of independent bottlings, and we're happy with that situation. But in essence, we're choosing these whiskies. They're not our whiskies. We're not going to stop doing it because it's an important part of our commercial life. But the reality is, moving forward, for utter comfort, for the future of the company, we needed our own distillery. And so with this situation we're now in, having a distillery, albeit we're going to have to wait 5 or 6 or 7 years until the whisky is ready, then we will continue. And the way we are set up is that the boys will have overall control, or they own the whole company, but they will be involved heavily in Ardnahoe Distillery. And I, if I'm spared, will continue to be operating the Hunter Laing independent bottling scenario.
I also took the opportunity to ask a question in relation to something I've been thinking about. Given the amount of expansion in the capacity, the production capacity of Scotch whisky, not just in all the new single malt distilleries opening up, but the expansion of the existing distilleries as well, I asked, did they ever consider that there's just too much whisky?
Good question.
I don't know if you would agree with my theory that I've just shared.
Speaking personally, of course, and my sons will have perhaps different views, I don't agree with the proposed question relative to is there too much whisky. An example, travelling in China, as we do. China, obviously, huge market. The amount of whisky going in there is relatively infinitesimal in comparison to what's happening, to drinking habits that are starting to take shape and effect in that country. The people we see buying a lot of our whisky are young people, affluent young people, and of course not every Chinese is affluent, but there are enough of them that will take up a huge quantity of Scotch whisky if we continue in the way that the trade is going and selling maturely and properly. And China is one market. It's a huge market, but there are other markets out there. I think we would be remiss in our duty if, as we can now say distillers, from our point of view, we do not fulfill the need and appetite for a single malt Scotch whisky, which is undoubtedly behind the current boom of Scotch whisky.
Yes.
I believe you say, where are we going? This is the boys' heritage. Scott and Andrew will have this question to answer in the years to come. I wish personally I was 30 years younger, and now in the position that I am, they have a superb future ahead. The world is a big place, and the world drinks and enjoys more whisky. Sometimes it's less quantity, but better quality. And our whole ethos in here, as perhaps is noted by the distillery and the way we have gone about matters, is to have that quality. And so we believe that we're positioning ourselves properly to move forward with a product, Ardnahoe, which will, we hope, enhance the island's reputation from the already superb producers of Scotch malt whisky on this island. I don't think I can say any more. It's forward thinking. We're a forward thinking company. Two young, experienced people here within the family, and a very good team, both at Ardnahoe, both at our Glasgow headquarters and both at our warehouse in Aqvavitae. I don't think I can add to that, Roy.
So there's certainly a sense of a steady hand and a carefully considered path to what's clearly a passion project. We should recognise that Hunter Laing as independent bottlers coming at this with a love of all whisky intend to make this the best possible single malt experience they can, with a close eye on traditional methods where possible, much in the same way as Cadenheads might view Springbank or Gordon MacPhail with Benromac. Since they're not blenders, making malts to create world-renowned blends, they've got a freedom here. And looking at the effort it's taken to reach this point in the distillery project so far, the message is written clearly for anyone to read. Within the entire team, there's a sense of excitement and energy. It's time. They've created their project. They're ready to share it. Just back from Ardnahoe, just back from Islay. And I should be tired, I fitted a lot into one day, but I'm energised. It was a good experience, it was positive, and I enjoyed my time there. And we did get to try the whisky that they were making. We got to try receiver strength new make, 68% or thereabout, fresh off the still, but very encouraging. Nice weight and texture to it as well. We also got to try some new make that had been in a bourbon cask, a first fill bourbon cask for 3 months. And we got to try it in the kinship room, and it was interesting because there's a lot of people around quite a big table there. And I always enjoy this moment, but when somebody's struck or they're contemplating a dram, they tend not to talk about it, they tend to fall silent. And when everyone was trying that 3-month-old from the first fill bourbon cask, now that'd been reduced a bit obviously to fill strength 63.6% I think it was. The room fell silent in contemplation, and that was very encouraging. I enjoyed it, I really enjoyed it, and it made me excited about the future. Now of course, it has to be noted that this thing isn't in a bottle yet. We need to wait some years for that to come. And we don't know how it's going to be presented, we don't know what the engagement's going to be like, and we don't know how much it's going to cost. But we can look at the pedigree of Hunter Laing, we can look at the independent whiskies that they've been bringing us over the years, and they're well presented and they're often very, very good value too. So I'm encouraged about the future. I'll be patiently waiting, and I wish everybody there the very best of every success for the future. But as a malt fan, right? But let's try to answer the question that I set out at the start of this video, and that is Ardnahoe an example of my dream distillery? Could it be close to my dream distillery if I was to get to create and design and build my own distillery? And I have to say, it's very, very close. There was lots of choices for them, I'm sure, along their journey of putting that project together, where they could have gone a more efficient route, where they could have gone a quicker route, or where they might have gone a less expensive route. But it seems like they didn't. It seems like they've crafted that distillery to make the best possible whiskey they can make. And as a dream distillery, for me, the things that are missing in that dream are not reasonably achieved. Maltings in-house, dunnage warehousing. They had to build on a greenfield site. You can't build a 200-year-old dunnage building. So the things that are missing there are not reasonable to ask for. But the things that are reasonable to ask for have been delivered. So in terms of a dream distillery, pretty damn close. Bet I have to do this again. Bet you.